Here in Louisville, the Standard Reverse shooting. It was in 1989. 47-year-old Joseph T. West Becker, pressman on disability for mental illness, entered Standard Reverse, former workplace, killed 8 people, injured 12 before committing suicide. So he murdered 9 people total, which is more than the Boston Massacre, but less than Donald Harvey, more than Rod Farrell, and whatever. Okay, so man is born good, and everywhere he is in chains. So he took the elevator to the executive reception area on the 3rd floor, and as soon as the doors opened, began firing at receptionists. So he goes in and shoots like 8 people. He approached Barger's body, apologized, apparently killed him accidentally, as he did not see who he was shooting at. So that kind of sucked for him. Back on the press floor, he shot anyone in his way, killing James Whibble and Lloyd White, and finally entered the break room where he emptied his magazine, hitting all 7 workers present, and killed William Goodnaut. Again, note, with a shot in the head, West Becker then reloaded and resumed firing, fatally wounding Kenneth Fentress. And West Becker stepped out of the press room, pulled his Sig Sauer, put it under his chin, shot himself, and in his shooting spree that lasted for about half an hour. He had fired about 40 rounds, leaving 8 people dead, 12 wounded. Additionally, 1 person suffered a heart attack. When police searched West Becker's house, they recovered a shotgun, Colt 9mm revolver, .32 revolver, starter's pistol, West Becker's will, as well as a copy of Time magazine on a kitchen table. And we feature an article about Patrick Purdy, who had killed 5 children and injured 30 others. With a Type 56 assault rifle, same weapon as used by West Becker at a school in Stockton, California earlier the same year. The shooter, Thomas West Becker, was born April 27, 1942, and he's 13 months old. His father, construction worker, died in the fall. He grew up without a father, no good real father figure. No father figure for Rod Farrell, Charles Manson. And I'm not sure about Donald Harvey. I would say that there was not a male. I mean, I don't know if it's good to have a male role model because men fuck shit up all the time. So maybe they should just figure the shit out. Talk to a fucking psychiatrist. I mean, people need to be willing to talk to professionals out here. That's a solution. If you're feeling disconnected or alienated, talk to somebody. It's nothing bad to talk to a professional about your life. Who you been talking to? You're just some random asshole neighbor, the homeless? Who the fuck you talking to about your life? Just random fuckers you run into? Just the dumb people that you've been, looking at for the last 100 years? So his father's death, he's raised an only child by his mother Martha, herself only 16 years old. At the time, her family often passed from place to place during his early childhood. One time deposited in an orphanage for almost a year. His grandfather, whom he felt closely attached, died when he was 4. As West Becker was a poor student, dropped out of high school in 9th grade, managed to earn his GED. Both dropped out. Both him and Donald Harvey both dropped out, right? Charlie Manson, Rod Farrell, Donald Harvey all got raped, so I think that's a pretty traumatic thing. Rape is just as traumatic for a boy as it would be for a girl. Joseph Thomas West Becker was born on April 27, 1942, and when he was 13 months old, his father, a construction worker, died in the fall. I already mentioned that. So he drops out, gets his GED, goes to Standard Graver, where he earned a reputation as a determined, hard-working, loyal, and reliable worker. The year 1978 marked the beginning of the downward slope of West Becker's life. His marriage ended in divorce, and a bitter battle over custody and support for his 2 sons ensued. It was also the year he admitted himself for the first time to a hospital to seek psychiatric treatment. He was on Prozac, and actually the thing fucking explodes. They try to sue Eli Lilly, and they actually settled. So they probably had a case. 1 month after Prozac, because Prozac can help some people, but in some people, they actually exacerbate the fucking conditions that's making them, fucked up. So, after the selling of Standard Graver and the subsequent management change in 1986, West Becker was assigned to a mechanical folder. He soon complained about stress and undue pressure. Asked to be placed back in his old job. His request was declined. He grew increasingly hostile against the new management, became weary of conspiracies aimed to harass him, and began to complain about policy changes at the company. Started complaining that exposure to Toluene at work caused memory loss, dizziness, blackout spells. Hostility culminated in May 1987. Wes Becker filed a complaint at Jefferson County Human Relations Commission, charging he was harassed, discriminated for his psychological state, deliberately put under stressful conditions. Following examination, indeed diagnosed that Wes Becker suffered from depression and manic depression, thus substantiated his claim of discrimination, and he was put on Prozac. August 1988, Wes Becker stopped working. He finally put on long-term disability leave. But February 1989, there's also an agreement to reemploy him as soon as he was recovered sufficiently. Blah, 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 blah. Let's see. So he bought several weapons in '88, AK-47, a pistol. So it just seems like it's the oppression. Maybe you could say he was crazy, but I think that case is clearly that's just the oppression. The same thing with the Atlantis plastic shooting. So you have Wesley Neal Higdon, a 25-year-old in 2008, in this 1989 Louisville, Kentucky shooting are very similar. Disgruntled workers, disgruntled employees, pissed off at people that were mocking them and humiliating them and treating them like shit. This man is working at this place. They get new management that comes in. They kick him out of his old job, and then they probably were trying to fucking harass him out, just keep on making his life hell until he was like, fuck it, I don't want to work here no more. But he turned the fucking thing on him, so they was discriminating because he was like, the toluene was fucking up his brain or some shit, making him have dizzy spells. I don't know how he actually pulled that shit. He said that they was being discriminated against because he had a mental illness because of the shit he was smelling. When they found that out, they gave him his job back. But just, he's probably right. He said that they was paranoid and a conspiracy that they was going to fuck him over, and he was diagnosed with depression, which I don't know. I mean, I guess there is. Chronic depression is a bad case. And so when he was diagnosed with chronic depression, Prozac, and then Prozac settled out, so they said maybe Prozac actually made his shit worse. So chronic depressed, workplace, employee, it's just the oppression, man. It's the oppression with all of them. Charlie Manson being oppressed, being raped. Rod Farrell being oppressed by his mother, being raped by his grandfather. Donald Harvey, that actually seems like he's just a psycho fucking murderer. This motherfucker didn't just snap. This motherfucker enjoyed the taste of fucking murder, okay? He's a psychopath. It started out by humiliation. He might have did some mercy killings. Some people, he might have been like Jack Kevorkian and him, helping them get to the next, life peacefully without having to fucking suffer. But I would say most of the time he just loved to fucking kill. That's what a psychopath, the serial killers, they just fucking love that shit. And they can't get enough of it. And it's bullshit. And it's not all psychopaths are serial killers. But there's a lot of psychopaths out here that are impossible to deal with, and I don't understand them, and it's fucking bullshit. So I was gonna try to do some sort of analysis with all this. Beloved Margaret Gardner, she was a woman who had she killed her own kids, okay? So Margaret Gardner was actually the reason why Beloved, Toni Morrison's classic, literature novel, Beloved, was written. Beloved actually was the murdered daughter who came back as this weird fucking monster. But Margaret Gardner was a real black woman in Kentucky. She ran away with her family to Cincinnati, I think, to cross the Ohio River. When she gets there across the Ohio River, her captors catch her. And when they catch her, instead of putting her kids back into slavery and having them to endure the pain and bullshit she had to do, she murdered her kids. And that's a true story. That's a Kentucky woman that was out of Boone County. Margaret Gardner was out of Boone County. And so the whole story about Beloved was all about, this, and then that just goes to show you that's a psychopath, right? But she felt like sort of a mercy killing. Jack Kevorkian is a moral and honest man. Jack Kevorkian, I don't have a problem with. Somebody says, I'm suffering and I want to die, signs all these release forms and shit, you have a right to end your own life. And if it's, after like a long deliberative process, after, I don't know how, maybe 6 months of fucking torture, I don't know, your pain's got to be fucking severe and great. It's got to seem like you're absolutely fucking miserable. If somebody shot me up and I'm just like crawling around like on my little fucking arm and shit, and that I'm just gonna fucking die after I like crawl 20 feet, fucking just, put me out. So I'm not against something like that. if it's honest and legit, but it's so hard to fucking regulate it, you know? And so that's just where the morality, I think, of this lays all out. That's acceptable if the person chooses it, but these people ain't choosing it. He's doing it on their own. He's killing them maybe on their own behalf without their permission. Maybe he's doing it because he's humiliated because he had shit rubbed all over his face. And he just loves the taste of blood. He just likes seeing people die. And people are sadistic like that. I think there are people who like people who hurt animals. People just love to see the pain and the suffering of others. And I don't know where that actually comes from. Maybe economic oppression, you know. All these other ones have oppression, but Donald Harvey I can't fucking put on oppression. I don't know about his relationship with his mother. That might be something there. He was in Boonesville in Alsek County, so poverty and economics had a strong influence on his life. But it doesn't seem like he's killing because he's poor, you know. He's killing all these fucking people just he's got a thirst for it. He just fucking enjoys this shit. Or maybe he liked the thrill of the whole fucking thing, playing God, living above the law, you know, not getting caught, figuring out how to do this. 70 bodies. I mean, he killed 70 motherfuckers and made sure, you know, they covered his path up good enough where they didn't catch him until the 70th one. Rod Farrell, you know, compared to Donald Harvey, just as a child, Donald Harvey killed 70 fucking people by his own admission. Some people think more, 83. Some people say less, 36. Rod Farrell, he killed 2 people, and he just fucking bludgeoned them with a fucking, you know, a crowbar and shit. Charlie Manson, he didn't kill nobody. He was getting raped, just like Rod Farrell got raped at 5 years old, got raped by Harold Gibson, his grandfather, who was part of the Black Mask, who also, according to Rod Farrell, murdered a dude right in front of him. So he saw murder happen in front of him. He was getting raped, you know, he was ripped of his dignity, he was humiliated, his manhood was taken away by this fucking Harold Gibson, who made out with his daughter. His daughter was making inappropriate fucking gestures towards his friends, holding his hand when they walked down the aisle, was into vampirism. She dressed in goth, dark makeup, lipstick, and fingernail polish and shit. And the Presbyterians. So the fucking Harold Gibson was a Presbyterian, a strict fucking Presbyterian. So you had Sandra Gibson, who come out of that strict environment. They said he's a Presbyterian, but he's also part of the Black Mask fucking cult. You know, who the fuck is this Harold Gibson? That's fucked up. That's a pretty strong charge, and they hopefully they fucking question that asshole. So then let's see, is that all of them? Is that all the psychopaths out of Kentucky? Oh yeah, Joseph Thomas Westbecker, Wesley Neal Higdon, oppression. They were, you know, employees. One goes after the foreman, one goes after the manager on duty, Kevin Taylor, and then the foreman, Michael Shea. Joseph Westbecker kills Michael Shea, the foreman, and Kevin Taylor was the manager that basically pushes Wesley Neal Higdon to a breaking point. You know, it was humiliation, but also it was like, you know, he was pissed off. So there's kind of 2 angers going with him. And then after he realized what he had done, you know, took his own life. I had a whole list of, you know, psychopaths: Simon Kitten, Henry Watterson, was Fort Pillow, Gene Snyder. Oh, actually, I wrote that, I didn't put that down. Rod Farrell, Angel of Death, Charlie Manson, Michael Carneal. Michael Carneal, he was actually a rich kid, you know. Michael Carneal was the son of a prominent lawyer, and he killed 3 people. He killed the best and the brightest. He was on Ritalin, so there's a antidepressant connection, you know. Michael Carneal was on Ritalin. Joseph Thomas Westbecker, who Prozac, Eli Lilly sold out to because they said that Prozac enhanced the antisocial or the fucking things that he was going through and made it actually worse. And so they give somebody money for, you know, that somebody sued Prozac and they wound up getting some money from Westbecker's fucking actions. Which is, you know, really all these are inexplicable actions. It just, at any point, at any time, motherfuckers could just snap for any reason. Some of it's karma, you know. Some of it's like somebody done something bad shit to them. They were not proportionate with the response. You know, having shit rubbed in your face is humiliating, but who saw it? Just between you two and shit? Maybe punch a guy in the face or something, but to murder him, to take his life? I mean, who are you to play judge, jury, and executioner like that? If you really thought that was a crime or some shit, file fucking charges. If it was just some humiliation, get the fuck over it, you know? You ain't the only person in the world. Maybe he was loved too much. Maybe his mother loved him too much. And since he couldn't fucking control the situation, motherfucker had to die. But that's Michael Carneal's on Ritalin. And Rod Farrell, they said that he was on medication. He said he was on medication, and then Wes Becker was on Prozac. So there's a prescription pill commonality, there's poverty commonality, lots of weird shit, lots of interesting things, and hopefully we can find why these fuckers snapped and prevent people from ever going Rod Farrell or Charlie Manson ever again.